Hey guys, Carl from Purple Misplaced. Today I'm taking a look at Trekking the World 2nd Edition from designers Nick Bentley and Charlie Bink and publisher Underdog Games. More specifically, I'm going to be taking a look at the new solo mode designed by Marceline Leiman. This game is a sort of card-based, moving around a map-style game where you're moving from place to place, collecting money, going on sort of encounters at different locations, collecting souvenirs, and ultimately sort of touring famous sites all over the world. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but as always I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion on the game. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think.
To set up a solo game of Trekking the World 2nd Edition, begin by placing out the sort of world map game board on the table. Next, to set up the player area, I need to take out one of these suitcase boards like this in the teal color, this sort of light blue color. And it doesn't really matter what color you use, except the rule book, and you'll see in just a minute, sort of tells me to use specific colors for the AI player. So I'm going to go ahead and follow those rules. Also for myself, I will need one of these money trackers. And then I'm going to take out this sort of tray of components. I'll set those out here just so they're available to me. And I will need to start with one of these frequent flyer tokens. And then finally for myself, because I am playing as teal, I will be taking this teal tracker. This will get placed out on the map board in just a minute, but for right now, I'm just going to place it right there. Then the AI themselves, the first thing I need to do is choose a difficulty level, and there are 4 difficulties in this game: easy, medium, hard, and extreme. I'm going to be playing on medium difficulty for this game. So the first thing I need to do is set up these sort of tour cards here, and you'll see 5, 6, 7, 7, 8. Setting that down here for just a second. I need to take this stack of tour and encounter cards, giving those a good shuffle. And then from the top of this deck, I need to find 5 cards with the value down here of 5, 6, 7, 7, and 8, as shown on the AI card. So there's a 7, there's another 7, there's an 8. I don't need that 9. Here's a 5, and I need a 6. There is a 6. So we'll set those off to the side, and then we'll place these out across the table right here, like that. Then taking the remaining cards, flipping them over to the encounter side, giving them one more good shuffle just to make sure I don't remember any of the cards that I just saw. That deck will get placed down like that, and then the top 3 cards will be placed next to it, giving us 4 cards available to us, like that. Finally, to set up the remaining cards for the game, I'm going to take this deck of itinerary cards, giving those a good shuffle. And I'll place those out just like I did with the encounter cards, except I'm going to turn over 4, reveal 4 of those cards. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, with the 5th one on top of the deck also, showing like that. Then finally, to finish setting up the AI, there are 2 solo mode sort of player aid cards that are helpful, but I'm going to set those off to the side because I'm going to explain the rules to you anyway. Then I need to take this solo mode deck, giving that a good shuffle. I'll place that here, and I will turn over the top card of that deck. The AI also gets the remaining Trekker pieces. And now because I've turned over the orange, I'm going to place the orange piece at the leftmost visible encounter card. So at Christ the Redeemer in South America, I will go ahead and place this orange Trekker. And that is right down here like that. Now I'm going to lay them down. Normally I'd have them standing up so they're right on that location, but by laying it down, it's going to make it a little easier for you to see on camera where everything is. And like that, we are all set up for gameplay. So Trekking the World 2nd Edition solo mode is going to play out over an indeterminate number of rounds. And on each round first, I'm going to take a turn, followed by the AI. with the goal of the game being that I need to complete all 5 of these tours before the AI collects 7 encounter cards. And if I'm able to do that, there is a final scoring to see how well I did it, but the ultimate goal of winning or losing the game will be if I can complete all 5 of these before the AI takes 7 encounters. And the way that's going to work is, on my turn, I will follow as it shows on this card. First, I'm going to choose an itinerary card and do what it says from top to bottom. And then I'm going to, if I like to, or if I'm at the right location to, take a tour or encounter at that location. So let me explain what that means. So first, I'm going to select one of these itinerary cards. And the itinerary cards have 3 pieces of information on them. First, the top piece is going to tell me how far I'm going to move my trekker on the board. Now you'll notice my trekker isn't on the board yet. In just a minute, when I decide what I'm going to do, I get to start my trekker at any of the airports on the map. But again, on my turn, I'm going to select one of these cards and move a number of spaces as shown on the card, knowing that I can never sort of loop back on myself. I can never use the same path or return to the same location that I've already been to in a given turn. And I must use the full move as printed on that card. Next, I will receive an amount of money as shown in the middle of the card. And then finally, you'll see at the bottom of these cards, there are some locations. If I end my turn in one of these continents, I will receive whatever resource or whatever cube token that I see there. So in this case, if I finished in South America or Africa, I would receive 1 blue cube. So why am I doing all of these things? Well, I'm supposed to be collecting money so that I can complete tours. The way I complete a tour is if I end my turn at the location where the tour is and I spend that much money, I will take the tour card. And again, I need to get all 5 of these in order to win the game. But also at the same time, in addition to potentially collecting cubes or potentially scoring these things, I can also potentially do an encounter at a location. If I end my turn on a location matching one of these encounter cards, I can take that card. And the reason I'm going to want to do that is I get whatever it shows at the bottom here as a sort of one-off ability. Now, some of these do show specific endgame scoring, which doesn't mean anything in the solo mode because a lot of those are comparing to other players. And I'm not really doing that in the solo game. Instead, in the solo game, each of these encounter cards, should I manage to complete the game, will be worth 5 points each. But there's another reason I'm focused on these encounter cards, and that's because the AI is also trying to get these encounter cards. So right now, we know that this orange trekker is at Christ the Redeemer. When my turn is done, I'm going to draw the top card of the AI deck. And if a color comes out of a trekker that's already on the board, the AI will claim the card matching that location. And that's how the AI is going to sort of push me to complete the game in a certain amount of time, because again, if they get 7 of these, I instantly lose the game. Also, if I manage to hold them off long enough without getting the stuff and this deck runs out of cards, I will also lose the game. So in addition to trying to complete tours to win the game, I also need to try and complete these encounters at the location where the AI player is. Because if I take that card away, the trekker that's at that location will come back. So then it will take another 2 sort of reveals of that color for them to take another card. So I sort of have to deal with the threat of the AI as I'm working to complete my tours. However, you'll notice on this card for the difficulty level that I selected, there is a tourism tax of $1 for the medium level. And the tourism tax means that while the encounter cards are usually free when I'm at that location, if I'm taking the encounter card where a trekker of the AI's sort of team is, I need to pay $1 in order to take that encounter. Now, I said that in order to win the game, I need to complete all 5 of these. I also need to, depending on the difficulty level, fill my suitcase up to a certain level. So on the medium difficulty level, I need to fill up to the level of 20 points, which you can see on this board here is this 4th column. So in order to finish the game, I need to have completed these 5 tours, but also I need to fill in all 4 of these rows up to that 20-point column. And again, these come from triggering these cubes at the bottom of the card, but those cubes will also give me sort of special abilities as I get them, because you'll see in certain locations on the suitcase, I'm going to unlock something by placing a cube there. And every time I fill in one of those things, I will take the token matching that. This here, the frequent flyer token, will allow me to, before taking an itinerary, fly to any of the airports on the board. The red move tokens will allow me to spend as many as I want to add an additional one move or sort of one space of movement to a given movement on a turn. The yellow money tokens will allow me to take this money value twice in a given turn. And finally, the black sort of cube token will allow me to take these cubes at the bottom of the card twice in a given turn. So that's basically all there is to the game. Let's go ahead and get into gameplay, and hopefully if there's anything that's not completely clear, it will come out during gameplay. Sorry, one last thing though, if I do manage to win the game, my total point score will be counting the points on the tours that I've completed, the point value that I've completed on my suitcase, and by point value I mean how far I've filled up to. So if I've gotten past 20 and filled in an entire column, I will score that point value instead. Again, 5 points per encounter card I collect. 1 point for every cube that's past the level that my sort of difficulty level requires. So any cube that's placed past 20 will be an additional 1 point. And then finally 1 point per leftover money or itinerary tokens that I haven't spent at the end of the game. And I said if I win, actually if I win or lose, in either case I will calculate that final score. All right, so let's go ahead into gameplay. Looking at the board over here, I need to try and accomplish Halong Bay, Yellowstone, Angel Falls down here in South America, the Sydney Opera House, and Cappadocia up here. I also see out on the board my encounters are, well, Christ the Redeemer, which we see automatically, Machu Picchu, which is over here, Zhangjiajie over here in China, and finally the Kremlin and Red Square all the way over here on the board. And again, I do want to try and get them off the board as much as possible. I get to start at any airport, and I could start here and move 2, but looking at the itineraries, none of the itineraries give me something for South America, except the one that's marked move 3. So realistically, I do have a move 3 in North America that gets me something. So I could start here, do 1, 2, 3, and on the next turn do 1, 2, 3, and hope that I don't draw an orange card for the next turn. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to start here. Then for my turn, I'm going to select this move 3, which means on my board I will move 3, 1, 2, 3, Old Havana. I do get the 2 coins, and then because I stopped in North America, I will get. So I'm going to place that up here in the itinerary discard, and then go back over and get 2 coins and 1 red cube, which does give me a move token. All right, then AI's turn, crossing my fingers, it's not orange. Yay, it's not. So pink's not on the board yet. We're looking at the next one, which is Machu Picchu. So she'll get placed at Machu Picchu. Back to my turn. Now I want that move 3 that ends in South America, this one right here. So again, I'm moving 3, 1, 2, 3, to be at the same place he is. I get 2 coins, and I am in South America, so I will get 1 blue cube. So coming back over here, 1, 2, I'm at 4. I get 1 blue cube. And then I am at Christ the Redeemer, where he is as well. Means I need to pay my 1 tourism tax, whoops, down to 3. But that means I get to take this card, which I'll explain right now. Looking at this, it says here, I can return 1 souvenir to gain an encounter card from the encounter row. It's worth mentioning that if I do this at a location where there is a solo opponent or an AI opponent, I will still need to spend that tourism tax. So I'm going to put that there like that, which means their guy comes back off the board. Here, I refill that, and it is the AI's turn. Turning over, yay. So they're trying to go to Preikestolen in Norway, right there. All right, so I've got the ability to potentially go to Machu Picchu, which may not be a bad idea. I need to get Angel Falls with 7, but I only have 3 right now. And Machu Picchu looks perfect, actually, because if I take this move 3 card right here, I'm going to move 3. 1, 2, 3, which puts me in Machu Picchu. I get 2 coins, and because I'm South America, get a blue cube. Blue cube, 2 coins to 5, but then I'm spending 1 to take the Machu Picchu card, which says, at the end of your turn, pay for and take any available tour in the continent you're in. Wow, that's great. So I can go anywhere in a continent and still take a tour anywhere without being in the exact city. That will absolutely come in handy later. This fills in. She comes back home like that. AI's turn, turning over like that. Pink, thankfully I just blocked that, but now she's going back out to the Bagan temples. All right, so what am I gonna do? Blocking them would be a good idea, except I need to start paying attention. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. I could move into America to get this yellow cube, or this yellow cube. Oh, sorry, that's move 1. I don't want that. Move 3, I could get this yellow cube, getting to gold, and then I could use this while I'm in America to get this Yellowstone card. I think that's what I'm going to do. So we'll take this. Then I'm going to move 3 from here, 1, 2, 3, to Old Havana. Gets me 2 coins and a yellow cube. Putting me up 5, 6, and 1 yellow cube. And then I'm going to use this card, which means you'll see in a second when we go back to the map, this gets placed in the encounter discard slot. And I can spend all 6 of my coins to take this Yellowstone card, like that. Filling that back in, AI's turn is orange. Bagan's got one, Prekestolen's got one. He's going to Zhangjiajie, assuming that's how it's pronounced, in China, like that. Now I need to start doing some taking care of business. Looking at my cards, I've got some Asia stuff happening. I've got one sort of Eastern Europe, sorry, this is more Oceania. Oceania, 2 cards. Eastern Europe, Asia card, 1, and then 1 South America. But this is close to Prekestolen, but also very expensive, and I'm out of money. Both Bagan and Zhangjiajie are close to each other, and somewhat close to these. Oh, this one's especially close, and it's cheap. Let's do that. So coming back to the board for a second, on my turn, I'm going to use this frequent flyer to fly from here to that airport right there, and let's see what we can do next. I'm in yellow Asia. All right, let's do that. The question is, would I prefer a yellow cube or a blue cube? In this case, either one looks good to me. Yellow gets me money, blue gets me frequent flyers. But I see some other yellow, but I also see some other blue. But I don't think I'm ever going to be in those locations very much. Let's go for blue because it gives me flexibility, helping or taking care of the AI. So I'm going to move 1, getting 3, and getting a blue cube if I'm in the yellow area. Except that I'm going to use my move token to move 2, because then I go 1, 2, and I'm here with him. I get 3 coins and a blue cube, which gets me another frequent flyer token. And again, 3 coins, but I'm going to instantly spend 1 of those, paying the tourism tax, to return the orange trekker and take this card, which says you may move fewer steps than an itinerary says. Gain $1 for each step not taken. That's really cool. That fills in like that. AI's turn. Still a 50-50 chance of them getting a card. They don't. Orange goes out to Old Havana. Like that. All right, so I'm still trying to get some money built up, but I am trying to get down to Halong Bay with 5, and I already have 2. And I see the perfect card because of that encounter I just got. I'm going to take this move 3 card, moving only 2 spaces using that encounter card that I just had. So as I can move fewer spaces than the itinerary, gain a coin for each step. So I'm going to move 2, getting 1 coin from that. Because 1, 2 puts me in blue Bagan Temple with her. I'm going to get 3 coins and a yellow cube for doing that. So 1 more yellow cube gets me a money token. And 3 coins, 1, 2, 3. But I am going to spend 1 to take that Bagan Temple card, which says, if any other players have more tours than you, gain 3 souvenirs of any color. Unfortunately, the AI never collects tours, so that's just points for me at the end of the game. That comes back, and the pink tracker also returns back. All right, AI's turn. They are going pink. Good stuff. To Mysore Palace. Down here. And now I'm trying to get to Halong Bay or the Sydney Opera House. 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, I'm going to ignore them for a little while. They're going to start getting cards, but that's fine because I need to focus on getting some stuff. And I would love to get some more cubes, and this one looks great. So I'm going to do this. It doesn't help me out for my goals, but it does help with cubes. I'm moving 2, 1, 2 to the Great Barrier Reef, getting $1, and because I am in Oceania, I get a black and a blue cube. So this goes to 5, like that. I get 1 blue and 1 black, which means blue is now at the level it needs to be. AI takes their turn, which is the tan guy, coming back from Prika Stolen, which means the AI now gets that card for themselves. That fills in. Now, at this point, I'd rather get stuff done. I need to move 1 to either do Sydney Opera House or Halong Bay. While I have the money, let's take care of the more expensive one. So I'm going to take one of these. I don't know when I'm going back to America, so let's take that one. Moving 1 space from here to Sydney Opera House. Then spending my money token to take 3 2 times, getting me 6 coins. And I do not get the cube because I'm not in North America, but 6 and 5 goes to 11. And then spending 7 because I am at Sydney, dropping down to 4 coins, I will take the Sydney Opera House, like that. Filling that in like this. AI goes. Orange is coming home from Old Havana Na Na Na. That fills in like that, which is cool now because there's lots of yellows and blues, and that's sort of the world that I'm in. I do need red, yellow, and black cubes. So this looks like a decently good thing to do, even though it's not going to get me where I need to go. Yeah. I'm taking this card, moving 1 to the Great Barrier Reef, aiming to get to Halong Bay next turn, gets 3 coins and a red cube. Red cube, and this goes up to $5, $6, $7. Like that. AI goes. Tan's going back out to Angkor Wat. Up there. Now for me, the only Asia card is this one. But realistically, I want to get stuff done, and that is doable right now. So I'm going to take this move 1 card, moving 1 to Halong Bay, getting 3 coins or $3, but not taking a cube. So I'm up to 10, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to spend 5 because I am in Halong Bay to take that card. And this fills in. Flipping over. Pink is coming back from Mysore Palace, like that. They are at 3 cards for 7. We're at 3 out of 5. I still need 2 red, 2 yellow, and 3 blacks. That's going to be the problem. I need to focus on some stuff. And I need to go to South America and Cappadocia. All right. And I think we're going to use our frequent flyer to fly to Europe. coming back, we're flying over here to Europe because I need to get some cubes. So I'm going to take this move 2 card, moving twice, 1, 2, getting closer to Cappadocia. I get 1 coin, or $1, and then I get 1 black and 1 red, which is going to be useful in a minute. You'll see I get 6 coins, $6, 1 red and 1 black. The red gets me 1 more move token, which is great to have. And black gets me 1 of those itinerary cube tokens, which will double cubes later, which is also great to have. So I'm still looking at 2 yellow, 2 black, and a red. That would be great, except I'm nowhere near South America. And I don't have any flight possibilities right now, but anyway, it's the AI's turn. Tan is coming back. Ouch. From Angkor Wat. They're at 4 now. Close, close, close. But now I'm a little bit more flexible. Cappadocia is 3 away. Yeah, let's take care of it. We're going to play this move 3 card. Moving 1, 2, 3. Getting 2 gold, or 2 money. 7, 8, but then instantly spending all of that to take this Cappadocia card like that. AI is placing out in pink. Banff. Anybody see Nightcrawler? Now, the last place I need to get to is Angel Falls. Means I need to work my way across the world to Angel Falls. Ooh, all right. Don't really need it, but we're going to do this. Move 2, 1, 2, gaining a coin and 2 blue cubes. So 0 to 1, whoops, 1, and 2 blue cubes, which gets me another frequent flyer, which means I could potentially stop the AI later if need be. This comes out. Africa is more blue, but I don't really want more blue. All right, then AI's turn goes brown, going to the Eiffel Tower. Like that. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so currently they can't win, even in the next couple turns, because they need to put 1 more out before they can take things back. So I'm working my way towards Angel Falls. 1, 2, 3, 4. I still need more money. So I'm going to take this just to get some money going, which says we're going to move 1 this way, gain 3 coins, and I'm not in North America, so no cubes. 1, 2, 3, like that. AI takes their turn. Tan is getting placed at the Terracotta Army, like that. So now they've got 3 on the board. So in 3 turns, they could potentially win the game, assuming they don't draw an orange. Well, more of those should be out. Huh. Yeah, I think we're going to do it. All right, so we're taking this card. Over here says move 3. 1, 2, 3. We'll stop there, and you'll see why in a minute. Taking 2 money, and I am in South America, so 1 red cube. So 4 goes 5, 6, and I get a red cube. Like that. Their turn. Brown comes back from the Eiffel Tower. Like that. Now, my turn, I am doing this card. And with this card, I have move 2. But I'm also spending this to make it a move 3. And then I'm also going to spend this to double here, because when I move 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm still in South America, so I'm going to get 2 black and 2 yellow and 1 money. So I get 2 black, 1, 2, 2 yellow, 1, 2, and 1 money, which changes this 6 to a 7. I'm in Angel Falls. I spend all 7 of that money, and I take that card. I have completed all of my tours. I've got everything up to a 20, triggering the end of the game. So with that, we go into final scoring. Adding up all of my tours, I got 16 plus 19 plus 10 plus 16 plus 13, which is 74 points. And then adding to that the 20 here, plus 1, 2, these cubes are beyond the threshold, an additional 2 points. Plus, I don't have any money left, but I do have 1 frequent flyer token, plus 1, finishes with a score of 97 on medium difficulty. So that's basically it for the game. This is the point where I usually take a look at the components. So first, coming over to the map board, this is a huge board, which is why was required for me to have 2 cameras running today. You'll see this board is really, really pretty. I love the way this looks. All of the locations are very easy to read. There's some really nice player aids right here on the board. This is I don't even know what to call this. A 6-fold board. It folds up pretty small, but it does fill up the table quite a bit, which is a small negative because this does take a lot of space on the table, but it looks really, really, really nice, so I can't fault them for it. While I'm here, since the trekkers are here, let's go ahead and take a look at all of those. I love wooden components, and I do love that each of these is slightly differently shaped than the others. They all look really cool. The colors are all very unique, so it's easy to tell apart, I think. Again, I don't suffer from color blindness, so I'm not sure. This pink and orange could potentially be close together, but I think the color choice looks good to me. The only other wooden piece in the game is this first player marker, which you don't use in solo, but it is a very chunky wooden piece. It does look really cool, nice little compass, thematically fitting with the game. Cool stuff. Back to the other side of the board. All of the cards, to me, are very, very nice. These movement cards are very simple, but very clear, very easy to see, very easy to understand what's going on. Very nice cards. The card quality, I think you can see as the glare is hitting, this definitely has a linen finish to it. They're a little bit thinner than I'd like, but they're nice cards. The encounter cards are very cool. First off, all of them have this sort of story about what's happening in the location, if you want to read and sort of add some more thematic flair to the game. Also, each of them have these gorgeous illustrations of the different locations. It's really cool to see all of the different special places in the world and learn more about the world as you're playing through this game. Good stuff there. Solo mode cards are just pictures of the meeple pieces, which, yeah, it does what it needs to do. It plays very, very well. I love these suitcase boards. Super, super thick punch board with dual layers, so all of these cubes slot in really, really, really nicely. Very clear, very easy to read everything at a quick glance. These dials work very, very well for keeping track of your money. Super smooth, super easy to turn, nice sort of chunky size to them. Big fan of those. This organizer is wonderful. It means that the game sets up and plays almost instantly because everything is already organized. And at the end of the game, it's super easy to just throw everything right back into those buckets without really worrying that things fit properly. Yeah, of course, with the tokens, you kind of have to slot them in correctly, but they're good. It's very easy to get those in and out. I am a very big fan of this organizer, both for storage and for gameplay. Nice lid on it that says Trekking the World. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can with the glare. Otherwise, the only other thing in here are the player aids. Again, very, very useful. This walks you through the entire solo mode. This one gives you a sort of play-by-play of how the game plays, how you score points at the end of the regular game, and then explanation about the itinerary tokens. You can't spend them on the turn that you get them, but otherwise you can spend as many as you want. You saw me spend 2 of them, and then it explains what all 4 of them do. I keep calling this the cube token. It is a souvenir token, sorry. But very, very nice player aids. Finally, the last thing I do like to show off is the insert for the game. Coming back to the other camera for a minute. This insert is incredibly well designed. You'll see here there's a perfect cutout for all of the suitcase boards to fit right in there like that. All of the money trackers fit right here in the center hole like that. There are two sizes of cards. All the small cards fit in there. All the big cards fit in there like that. The tray with the components slots right in there perfectly like that. All of these guys, I put them in a baggie usually, but they go right in here with this, which I didn't show off, sorry, with the components. There is a score sheet here. This is less useful for the solo mode. It's better for the multiplayer mode, but it's nice to have it there. And they are just single-sided, just so you can see that. Then finally, on top of all of that, the board has a nice cutout that fits perfectly in there like that. And the two rule books, yes, I said two rule books. Big thumbs up for having the solo rules as a separate book for comparison. The two rule books are fit into that slot as well. Everything gets held very, very nicely in this game. Huge thumbs up from me for that insert. So that's basically it for the components. Meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the game itself.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. This one's going to be a bit of an interesting one for me to talk about because if you had asked me several weeks ago before I sat down to record my playthrough of this game, what my thoughts were on this game, it was going to be that I thought it looked like an interesting multiplayer game, but unfortunately it didn't really work for me solo because the solo mode changed too much of the core mechanisms, or not core mechanisms, but the core sort of feeling and goals of the multiplayer game. And for that reason, I didn't really recommend it solo. But I played it more to prepare for the video, and then most importantly, when I sat down and started recording the video and was sort of talking through my thoughts out loud as I played the game and as I walked through the game, and now finally having won the game and understanding sort of more about the strategies involved in the game and more about what's going on in the game, my opinions of this game have changed quite a bit. Now, there is still a little bit of piece of me that does feel the way I did about the solo, and I'm actually going to start a little bit with the negative here before I start with the positive here, simply to get it out of the way because, again, my opinions of this game have increased quite a bit since I started playing this and since I first started putting my thoughts together about what I was going to say about this game on video. So, again, what I'm saying here is that in the multiplayer game, you're all sort of competing to score points. And yes, of course, you're aiming to get the tours around the world, just like you are in the solo game. But in the multiplayer game, all of those encounter cards, well, not all, because some of them give you abilities, some of the encounter cards that you pick up in the game, and I'll talk more about this later. It's kind of weird that I'm doing it backwards, but I just want to get this sort of hiccup out of the way first. And that is that some of the encounter cards you're collecting throughout the game score points based on specific thresholds of things that you're doing aside from the main goals in the game. And what that does is it gives you quite a bit more variability, or at least what I expect that it does, is give you quite a bit more variability in the game sort of about what you can score on, and focus you to try different things to score different points based on these encounter cards. And it kind of made me sad that in the solo mode, those are just 5 flat points, and it didn't really mean anything to follow up with those. And it sort of took out that whole aspect of minor goals from the game. And at the same time, differently from the multiplayer game, the solo game is adding in this sort of race element where I'm sort of competing to get the stuff done that I'm trying to get done before the AI does something. And it was that sort of switch from multiplayer to solo that kind of irked me a bit, because it sort of felt like it was removing part of what could make the game special and then trying real hard to turn it into something else. And I didn't really grok that, and I didn't really connect with that at first. But now, having played it more, I do. So let me start back over with what this game is doing, what the solo mode is doing, and how I feel now, having played this game much more and sort of starting to get deeper into how the game works. So at its core, this game is basically a movement puzzle. You're trying to move around the world, trying to get to specific locations in order to collect these encounter cards, which give you special abilities and or endgame scoring. But ultimately then to get to specific locations with a set amount of money to do a tour of a famous landmark at that location, and then particularly in the solo mode, trying to finish a certain number of these location tours before the AI triggers the end of the game. So the way that this works is mostly driven by these really interesting card mechanism, and that is every turn you're choosing an itinerary card. And on that itinerary card, there are going to be 3 things printed there. The first one is going to be the number of spaces that you must move on the map. And I say must move because whatever the value is that you've drawn, that's how many spaces you are required to move on the map. So I can't simply take a 3-space card and move 1 space. I have to move exactly 3 spaces. And that's going to be really important in the puzzle here because you're trying to get to specific locations at specific times in the game. So given the ability to accidentally overshoot the location you're going to in order to take a card that does other things for you is an interesting decision space in this game. Because the other 2 things that are printed on the card is an amount of money that you're going to get, and generally cards that make you move further give you less money, and cards that move less distance give you more money. So you're trying to balance how far do I need to move on a given turn versus how much money do I need to make sure I'm collecting along the way before I get to that location where I need to spend the money to get that tour card. But then even more interesting, what makes the decisions here really shine is that the third thing on this card is resources. They're called souvenirs. There are cubes that you're collecting in different colors, red, yellow, blue, that you're trying to build up in your suitcase. And after you get enough of them, you're going to get tokens that give you special abilities. The blue ones, sorry, I forgot black, red, yellow, blue, and black. The blue ones will let you get an airplane ticket, basically, that lets you fly to any airport from wherever you are on the map. The red one will give you additional movement points that you can spend when you take your itinerary card and move. And then the yellow and black are going to sort of double 1 card's worth of either money if it's yellow or the souvenir cubes if it's black. So you're trying to fill up your suitcase with these souvenir cubes to get these abilities, but also because there are scoring thresholds for every complete column of all 4 colors that you collect, you score more points. And in the solo mode, on top of completing all of the tours that you're required to complete by the end of the game, you also need to have filled into a certain column on your suitcase. So you're trying to sort of collect specific colored cubes in order to get those special ability tokens, but then also to sort of get the full variety, one of each of those cubes several times in order to fill up the suitcase to that point that it needs to fill up to. And the way that that works is at the bottom of every card is 1 or 2 cubes that you collect if you end up on the correct continent, which is important because you're trying to get to specific cities for encounter cards. You're trying to get to specific cities for your tour cards that are ultimately what's triggering the end of the game and your sort of main goal. But you're also trying to collect those cubes for a secondary goal that must be required, must be met in order to win the solo game. So sometimes it's worth moving in the wrong direction to collect cubes by landing in the right continent, to then later turn around to come back to a city that has the thing that you need to get done. And that's what makes all of this really cool, is this sort of intertwined usage of these cards to provide a movement value, an amount of money, and an amount of cubes that you can receive if you're on the right continent. Because as I was saying before, sometimes the movement cards overshoot your destination. Well, maybe I can think if I need to move 1 space, if I move 2 in the wrong direction and then move 3 back the other direction, and I trigger it such that the 2 card triggers for whatever continent this lands in, and then the 3 triggers for the continent that I'm returning to get to the actual city that I'm trying to get to, you start to build these combos in your head, not just planning the fastest place to get from point A to point B, but how to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible while still collecting as much money as possible while also triggering as many of those cubes by going to the right continents along the way. And that's sort of the core mechanical loop of this game, but then the solo mode adds in one more layer. Because now you're competing in a race against the AI opponent. And what that means is the AI has a deck of cards that's flipping over, showing one of 4 pink, yellow, brown, and tan. No. Yeah, I think 4. I'm sorry if I forget. It's either 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it's 4 different colors of their own meeples that they're going to place, or their own trekkers that they're going to place out on the board. And what that means is every time they turn over a card, it's either going to be placing out a new one of the ones that's still in their reserves, or if the same color comes out for a second time, it gets pulled back. And when it gets pulled back, it's taking whatever the encounter card is where that trekker was placed. So now the piece of the game where I'm going from place to place along the way to getting money, to getting tours done, picking up those encounters is now not only to get myself abilities, not only to get myself these endgame scoring bonuses, but now also to prevent the AI from getting those encounter cards themselves. Because if the AI gets that encounter card, then they're getting closer to ending the game before I'm able to do all of the other stuff that I need to get done. So there's this tracker or this timer of the AI is trying to get 7 encounter cards to end the game, and I need to get everything I need to get done before the AI gets their 7th card. But it's not just a timer that ticks on. By me going to these locations and stopping the AI from getting that encounter card, I'm extending the timer of the game. Except that at the same time, that may be slowing down my ability to get the things that I really need to get done. And that's important because the AI also has the deck that's determining where they get placed out. And if that deck runs out, then that also triggers the end of the game. So there is a hard timer in the game with a shorter soft timer that can sort of continuously be extended until it hits that hard timer for you to get all the things that you need to get done. So it's really an efficiency puzzle about how do I get from A to B fastest while also picking up as many cubes as I need to, while also collecting enough money that I can to get all the tours done that I need to get. But then also, every time I try and take an encounter card, or every time I do take an encounter card away from the AI, I need to pay for that as well. There's a tax put in place in the solo mode, and depending on the difficulty level you play, more tax you have to pay. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm pretty good at the normal mode. I tried the hard mode last time, which is sort of the 3rd level difficulty mode. I'm sorry if I'm using the wrong level descriptor. Hard may not be the right name, but I think it is. I tried the hard mode last time, and in the hard mode you pay 2 coins tax every time you take an encounter, which meant that I did end up running out of cards in the AI's deck because I never had the money I needed to get the tours done. I only needed one last tour to get finished before the timer ended, but it was a constant sort of grind to get from place to place. Ooh, I got money, but I really need to stop that encounter, and there goes my money. And ooh, I really got to stop that encounter, and there goes my money. So it really becomes this very interesting balancing act of, can I afford to spend time? Can I afford to spend money holding the AI at bay while I'm getting things done? Or should I just say, forget about it, let them get a card or 2 while I book it to the next place that I need to get the thing done, hoping that I can achieve all of my goals fast enough that the AI doesn't get their stuff done anyway. So this balancing of time pressure as well as efficiency puzzle of movement and money collection and resource collection and clever usage of the tokens that you're collecting through those resource collections, all of it ties together to make a really interesting puzzle. And now this turns this sort of move around the map collecting points kind of game into a sort of pandemic-esque crisis management kind of game that I really do have to pay attention to this crisis while I'm also racing to get my own goals done. And it does feel really good, and it's starting to get a whole lot more fun for me as I'm digging into this game more and more. Now, coming back to my original thoughts on the game, there is still a little bit of and that does mean that you still don't get to score those bonus goals on those encounter cards except for just getting 5 points at the end of the game. And I'll talk about that scoring in just a second. But it also means that it's putting this extra pressure on me based on a card flip from the AI, and based on a card flip from the encounters, and based on, well, we see the tours, but tours are randomized at the beginning, but I know where they all are going to be. But mostly the point is there's the encounter card flip, there's the itinerary deck flip, and there's the AI deck flip that tells me where the AI is going to, as far as not where they're going, but who's going to those encounter cards, which sort of determines if the same color comes out a lot, then they're putting and drawing and putting and returning and putting and returning and taking cards fast. And if I get 4 different colors and then 4 different colors again, it's taking more time for those things to go out and come back. So there is a bit of, well, more than a bit of randomness as far as which encounters come out, which itinerary cards come out, and when the AI places which colors at which locations. And that matters because it could just be that The encounters all happen to be on the way along the travel that you're doing to get to the tours that you need to get. The itinerary cards come up that just so happen to fall into place, that they're in the right continents when you're in those continents to get all the cubes that you need. And it could be just because of the cards that you got. It's a very simple walk through, do this, get this, stop here, get an encounter, do this, get money, go here and get your tour. Or it could be, I need to get from this side of the world to this side of the world and then back again so that the AI doesn't get this, but then I can come back over here and get this. Meanwhile, I got to pay attention to which resources I can get in which continents and where I am at any given time and when to use the extra movement from a red token and when to use the airplane or the flight ability from the blue tokens. And to be honest with you, when things are going bad, it's more fun because it's more decision making. It's more creativity in how you get things done and when you get things done and timing and efficiency and all of this other stuff. So for most of the time, when it's in that sort of middle level leaning towards the more difficult randomness, it feels really good. But it could just be that based on the card flips of the AI, boom, 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 they take the encounter cards because you just can't get to them, and the same piece is going out and in again, taking those cards really quickly. And sure, the AI deck is a set deck, so once a certain colors come out a bunch, it can't come out again. But there's definitely some swinginess in the speed at which AI can collect the cards. There's definitely some swinginess as to where those encounters are showing up in comparison to where your tours are, in comparison to where the itinerary cards are rewarding you for going. So there is a bit of randomness that could swing really, really hard or could swing really, really easy in any given game. And that does make the AI feel a little bit cheaty and a little bit meh. But ultimately, the more I've played this and the more I've played with strategy and the more I'm starting to learn how the gears in this thing really work and how they connect to each other, it does feel a whole lot more fun, and that randomness bothers me a little bit less every time I play. And it also does feel good that there's this drive to get this stuff done while fighting off all of this negative stuff that's happening, and I'm enjoying it. So does it bother me a little bit that I do still lose some of that scoring goal stuff from the multiplayer game? Yes. In the solo mode, there is still scoring at the end of the game, and actually I didn't even notice that until later after playing a few times, because I did lose the first few games, and when I lost I just figured, okay, that's a loss, that's whatever. But the scoring actually does score still whether you win or lose, and based on the stuff that you've gotten done and so on. So for example, most recently that hard game that I was telling you I played, I actually scored my best score that I've ever scored in this game, and yet I still managed to lose because I didn't get the goals, I didn't get all of the tours, and I didn't get all of the cubes before the timer ran out. So realistically, if the randomness of the AI bothers you in this game, there's still the scoring, slightly different scoring because you don't score specific endgame goals, but there's still the endgame scoring, which means you could kind of play the solo mode as a beat your own score solo mode and just use the AI as a bit of pressure to get you to where you can do and see how much you can get done while the AI is messing with you. Now for me, I still prefer a goal-based win or lose threshold solo mode, and that's still here too because there's that AI timer that's in the game. So it is sort of a best of both worlds, beat your own score and AI controlled endgame goal solo mode. The AI is a little bit more random than I'd like it to be, and I've never been a super fan of the scoring stuff, but again, I don't want to say all, most of the stuff that bothered me about the solo as I played my first few games has sort of gotten pushed to the side because the puzzle of efficiency and timing really is a whole lot of fun, and I'm definitely enjoying this a lot more than I expected I would be after my first few plays. So I'm glad I put more time into it so that I could find that enjoyment in this game. I do also know that there's a small expansion that came with this from the crowdfunding campaign that did run. I haven't had a chance to play it, but it looks like it adds in sort of variable player powers as well as some other stuff that you can do along the way through your journey. I reached out to Marceline Leiman to ask. It does work apparently with the solo mode, but she did say that it does make things particularly more easy in the solo mode. And realistically, maybe that's what I like. Maybe that's what I want. Maybe I do want it to be slightly more easy. Maybe I can push to a higher difficulty level and include the expansion content in there. So I'm going to see if I can get a copy of that expansion, give it a try, see what it adds, and if I think it's worth talking about as far as how it connects to the solo mode in this game, I might be back with another short video on this game. But again, if you're interested in sort of interesting usage of cards to move around a map, collecting things as you go, this is one I definitely recommend. I don't know if it's 100% solo recommendation, but if you're going to play a multiplayer and solo, definitely check it out if it seems like something you'd be interested in. If you're looking to play only solo, you might see if somebody you know has the game so you can try it first. But again, I'm still having quite a bit of fun with it now that I've sort of figured more of the strategy out in this game and more of what I'm actually capable of doing, even when the AI feels like it's being randomly strong against me. Anyway, that's basically all I have to say about the game. I hope that, as always, that this video was helpful for you. And if it was, please remember to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below. And I'll see you all next time. Thanks.